Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Unbelievable. You guys' thoughts on the World Cup?
So, World Cup for me, I think it was a good World Cup.
Okay.
Good World Cup. Not the best World Cup.
We'll probably start with that. What was your favourite World Cup? I think that's a good place to start. Your favourite World Cup and favourite World Cup moment.
Ooh.
Go on. We'll go around the room.
Oh. Right, come back to me because I don't.
I can start with my favourite World Cup, which definitely wasn't the best, but it's my favourite because I like to follow the Italian national team.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking 2006.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And
Is that the one that Cannavaro
won player?
Yeah.
He was captain.
And he won player. He won.
Did he win it or did Pirlo win it? Cannavaro won it. Yeah, I think to see that group of players, which were like the Italian legends that we all grew up with.
Yeah.
You're talking about Totti, Cannavaro, you got Nesta, you got all these players, Pirlo, Gattuso. Mate, that team was just too live. And also, I suppose because I outside of Arsenal, I follow AC Milan. We won't talk about them now, but back when they were
when they were something.
When they were back
when there was something to even.
Yeah, back then. Just seeing all those players perform the way they did, Totti's performances in particular, I think, in my personal opinion, in terms of Zidane's individual performances at World Cups, I think in 2006 Totti's was as good. His, if not better, I don't know. I think his performance against Germany in particular was probably the best thing that gave me. That's the best thing I've seen. It gave me the most enjoyment to see Totti perform like that. I'm a big Totti fan. Again, we were talking about Magic before, and I just think, just in his career, just the amount of insane stuff that he's done. To see him perform and not winning much in his career, having the opportunity to go to Real Madrid and staying with Roma, that his performance at that World Cup is my greatest moment.
Go on.
Who's next?
Had a lot of time.
Even though it's not a moment, it's a series of moments. But
my favourite World Cup is 2002. Just because I got that was my first World Cup where I saw my favourite player, which is Ronaldinho.
Okay.
And as much as he let me down, he did one moment of magic that people still argue that he didn't do on purpose.
Yeah.
So that's like my moment and my best World Cup, because my favourite team, which is Brazil, they won, and then him scoring the free kick. For me, the free kick, everyone argues, but if you see him and you know how he plays, like watching him play that whole season, he was being cheeky that whole season. So for me, I personally just know, and it's just a feeling.
Let's be fair to him, he has it in his locker.
Yeah,
it's not like it's out of his realm of.
I just there's an element of me that
I thought he meant it at the time.
He meant it. And
I remember you thinking he meant. I didn't think he did.
You watch it back. Yeah?
I watch it now, and I
you
think,
see it.
But I was an absolute Ronaldinho hater. I hated him.
Oh, okay.
I hated him not because of how good he was, because it's an Arsenal thing, innit? Because of Henry, and I think Henry at least one time should have beaten.
They were playing at optimum level.
Yeah, but it was them two for 2 or 3 years, and they were the Messi and Ronaldo for a shorter period, but just the levels of performance and ability and just what they were doing. Sorry. Anyway.
No,
I'm
so
interrupting
yeah,
you.
literally, those are. That encapsulates my World Cup and my moment. Just Ronaldinho scoring that free kick, like literally, because for me, you see how cheap, like he's a cheeky footballer. It's like what you were saying about the whole thing about
Magic.
moments of magic. That's what I class as entertainment and artistry. It's like, you know, you could, but you don't. Let me try something different.
Yeah.
And that just, like, for me, because now I was watching, and in 2002, I was actually watching football unbiasedly, if that makes sense. I think for most of my life playing football, I was in awe of football. I loved football at that time, and I was attached to players emotionally. Literally, like, if I liked a player, that was my player. Like, and if someone compared anyone to that player, at 13, 14, literally,
I think it's the reverse for me now.
Literally,
I'm attached to players more emotionally now than I was then.
I lost so much love out of football. Like, I can look at anything objectively. Like, football was not an emotional thing for me anymore. So it's like I was watching players that I didn't watch before, or noticing, oh, this person's underrated because, do you know what I'm saying? So that World Cup, I got to see players for what they really were. And like I said to you, as much as he scored my favourite goal, my favourite moment, he didn't play that well in that World Cup for me to say, yeah, he's the best player to ever, do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool. So now I looked at it objectively and it's like, yeah, that's my moment, that's my World Cup, because like he showed me a moment of magic, why I love football.
Yeah.
So it brought me back to that young
I'm gonna
kid.
go off the same thing. 2002 was probably my favourite World Cup in terms of, like, for the most part, I think people love the fairy tale story, and just to see a tournament where in the end Germany and Brazil got to the final, but going into the tournament they was not looking great, and
neither. Yeah.
there was, like, England battered Germany like 9 months previously, and Brazil had changed coaches like 3 or 4 times, so it was just like, obviously there was a lot of question marks going into the tournament. Was Ronaldo going to be fit in time? I think he came back towards the end of the season, played
right near the end.
3-4 games right at the end of the season, and it was like, oh, is he actually going to be able to fire Brazil to the World Cup? So obviously I'm not going to lie, the final of France 98, I cried like real tears.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Huh?
Like, I was so emotionally invested.
I cried when Ronaldo, it was like the emotion of the moment. It just kind of got the better of me. There's only 2 times I've cried over football. They were probably both in the same season. That season, obviously, I cried. That's the first time I cried over football, when Ronaldo got injured. Well, he played, didn't it? But just his performance, I felt bad. Like, I felt for
horrible.
him, because it was like,
You're forcing him to play.
he wasn't. You can see that he wasn't with it, and then the fact that he actually went out there and played 90 minutes, and they like didn't look like they took any mercy on him. So yeah, moving on from that, 98 probably, if Brazil won the fight, in the circumstances.
Wait. I need to stop you there. You said the first moment you cried. What was the second?
Oh, Solskjaer. I think at quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We was winning 1-0, and then in the last 10 minutes,
We as in Liverpool.
I think
He wanted
too
to
late.
highlight that.
No, because obviously listeners, innit, like they
Too
might
late,
not know,
you know, I
innit.
have a knack of just jumping from place to place. Solskjaer, I think, scored like in the 93rd minute or something like that.
Okay.
And it was like, I had my Liverpool top on, and it was the first time I got a Liverpool top. Yeah, I was devastated. Just
See, I'll say mine, and then we'll go. Mine was Naeem, halfway line.
no, I was a grown ass kid when I cried, man. I was like 11 at the time.
Yeah,
man.
for me, it was
Naeem was cool because you were still
Naeem,
7-ish.
yeah,
those times.
I'm not supporting him anymore. My mum was like, no.
You
I
have
was
to
like,
stick it out.
yeah. That's your club. I was like, okay.
And then obviously Ronaldo, going back to the World Cup, my moment, obviously him scoring 2 in the final. Obviously, just a good redemption story as well.
Yeah.
I disagree with Lee in regards to this World Cup. I thought it was absolutely pants. I have my like again in it. I said a little bit earlier that like I'm probably more emotionally attached now to football than ever. I think it's partially because I don't play anymore. So that's the only taste of the enjoyment that I got when I played. So it's like I'm fully invested. Like for me, being a Liverpool fan growing up, I could appreciate Arsenal. Like for instance, when we was in school, a lot of the time, like I could enjoy Arsenal's success. Whereas now, I don't think I can enjoy any other team prospering. Like I want every other team to crash and burn. Like,
you do talk like that still.
So I've become I've become a more, I would say, reverent fan of football in general, and my belief system is a lot more aligned to what I want in terms of, say for instance, like England during this World Cup. They didn't play well, but they're my England, innit? So I have to stick with them. And it's just like Liverpool. I can't openly sit like before. You have banter and group. Like every team has ups and downs, and I just can't personally sit in any forum, whether it be work, group chats, and listen to anyone say anything negatively about Liverpool.
Let's structure this. Let's structure this.
Go on.
You think it was Lee? You think it was good? Riz, you think you say pants?
Yeah, I say pants.
So, what was pants about it?
Wait,
like exactly.
What was your verdict?
I liked this World Cup. I thought it was good. I think.
Okay.
My appreciation for football has changed, and it's probably aligned to what's going on with the club. I won't lie, in terms of like there's only so many times you can kind of go through the same stuff, which was us fighting for fourth, and then last couple of years we still been fighting for Arsenal, fourth, but not Arsenal. Sorry, not reached there, not reached our targets. Manager not leaving, digging his heels in, blah blah blah.
That's a whole.
It's the same. It's just all the same stuff. So you can't like all these like Arsenal TV people, and they're so invested in it. For me, it's just like 10 years is a lot of time to be going through the same stuff. So like I kind of take more of an enjoyment. Like I'm still an Arsenal fan. I will not support any other club, but the only times when I might be in where it might affect me in my day to day would be like if it's a genuinely bad performance.
You had a lot of those last season.
Yeah. So going back to the World Cup, the reason why is because it's more of like a holistic view on football. What I found so fascinating with this World Cup was how many different ways to approach a game of football there were. Like, it wasn't just about the formations, it was about the way that people are trying to attack. And for the last few years, I just don't feel like, especially with European coaches going into less developed countries in terms of the football or soccer.
Yeah,
soccer.
They kill everything, man. Europeans kill everything. Like they just want to go there, teach them 4-4-2, grab swing something in the box and win a game 1-0. And there's only so much you can watch of that. So to watch teams like Saudi Arabia really give it a go,
Iran,
like, and playing triangles and really going for it. Like there were some teams really going for it. Senegal were personal fave. Japan, Costa Rica, Peru, who if Guerrero wasn't
his chances.
Yeah, and he was banned because of his. Anyway, that's something else. But he was banned for the first game. He was supposed to be banned for the World Cup. Or he might have even been banned for the first game. He might have just been unfit, something like that. Just all of those teams, they were trying to play in a positive way.
Yeah,
and that is what I liked the most about this World Cup. I thought it for me throughout.
I hear you in terms of the styles of play and stuff, because again, for me, that's why I haven't really paid much attention to international football of late. I think Spain doing what they did for a long time just kind of left me with a sour taste.
Yeah.
I think my disdain for the World Cup probably comes more to do with the politics behind it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The political side of it is extremely, like, it's unerring. Like, there's a massive political side, but that is, and I suppose as I've gotten older, that's why people consider it the top, like because it's not just clubs, it's not just, you know, like little postcode thing, like down the road, you know, Everton live. This is a national patriotic, whether you are or not, it's a patriotic thing. The same way people feel about their clubs, like, you know, I'm Liverpool till I die. Like, they'll go and scuff a man on the alley or a few man in the alley for the badge. This is another level to that, depending on whether you're a patriot or not. Do you know what I mean? So it's the politics. Yeah, I thought the politics around England was interesting. I've had my say on that already before, but I just feel like that was quite uncomfortable in terms of, like, half of me was like, yeah, England, like within my people, my circle, like you guys, we were out watching it, but then there's like a bigger context to it, you know. There's a lot of you know, people making examples of specific races who are trying to get involved in that because, you know, they're second, third generation people, you know, immigrants, and they're not. Go for it.
Like, in terms of the level of competition, that's where my issue with the politics comes, in terms of, again, just harboring back on the whole Europeans having more of an influence on the styles of play. And then you look at the number of, because if we're going by fairness, Africa has over 50 countries in it, so it should be more evenly represented if you're talking about a World Cup in it, in terms of how they decide to, like, divide up the allocation of places. Unfair. It's unfair. And again, for me, in terms of, like, what's the point in having FIFA rankings if we're just going to throw everyone in? Like, in terms of, I would prefer to see the best of the best. Like, if you're going to rank it in terms of a competition, yeah, like, although they say, the Champions League,
the top 50 should play.
Is it the Champions League?
Play a qualifier.
This is how he sounds like to say on it. So you go first.
The way he's trying to view it is like,
I'm not part of the FIFA government.
The top 50, right?
This guy
should play a qualifier, and then those top 50 enter the World Cup, and now you got the best of the best playing each other. Because that's how it sounds like to me.
Like, sounds elitist, doesn't it?
So.
But this is the
that doesn't sound elitist. That's far from elitist.
Of course it sounds elitist.
Your version is the opposite of elite. Elitist is the way the game is, because you're giving it to the people that are better. The way you want to do it is you want to go and watch however many dead teams kick. Like, we have African nations, yeah? Like, I've known you a long time. You talk about African nations. Your respect for African Nations Cup is at most nil.
It's dead.
But then you want to give them, in terms of fairness, you want to give every nation.
That's what I said. I'm not a politician, and I'm not sure which the best way to do it. However, I feel that the FIFA ranking system doesn't really mean anything.
All right, but the same ranking system ranks the Champions League. It's a similar ranking system, the coefficients. So if the clubs are performing well, you get 4 spaces, and if the country is performing well on the international in the international domestic level club stage, then you get more spaces.
Do you know what it is? I think it should be like boxing. You know, when you have the silver WBC.
We have the silver WBC championship. It's called the Europa League. Or you want some sort of Europa national.
Yeah.
What is it?
There's a problem, innit? We already crammed 38 games into a season, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of the African nations, really? What's the point of the Europe? Like,
how you want to do it means that there'll be more internationals because the rankings have to apply.
No, because they still managed to.
Because there'd be teams like Iran, right?
Yeah.
Zimbabwe.
Look at it like this.
Smaller islands, smaller countries that would want to get a ranking.
Yeah.
They feel that they need their equal rights, right, to get a ranking.
Like I said, I'm not sure
that
what
means
the best way
that
to do
those
it is.
countries need to play more games,
Meaningful friendlies. Or
more meaningful
fixed-
to get rankings, right?
Yeah.
But we play World Cups every 4 years, and we do we play World Cups every 2 years. 4 years, sorry.
There's a European,
and in between that,
South
there's
American
European, South America, all those sort of continental.
And the Copa
competitions.
America does it
So
weird.
it's
Sometimes
always
it could be
split within
back-to-back.
2 years. Within a 2 year period, how much football do you really want in like professionals to play?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like not having football, so you're asking the wrong person.
You know,
Now
the
you're just
smaller
talking on a
nations-
selfish armchair.
you know the smaller teams and islands, they go through their own qualification, like where they try
for
to
Champions League, right? So Champions League's already started.
for not even on a national level. So you got like a country, I don't know, I wish I could
Gibraltar,
name some,
for instance.
like Gibraltar.
They're in the European Europa. They're in the UEFA.
No, but they're just a smaller country in Europe. So we're just going to use.
Andorras of the world, the Luxembourgs of.
But they're a
they should have their
smaller-
own World Cup. I don't want to see.
But then it's not a World Cup, is it?
It's
No,
not-
it is, because we're still
obscure
going to have the
national
7
club.
continents represented, just the best of the best. So give me your. Do you know what it is? I'd rather see the 8 best teams from Europe. Yeah. So Italy, Germany, France, Spain, France, Belgium, and England.
So you
This is
also,
terrible,
so
man.
you want to open up the World Cup to
This is
more
diabolical.
sides.
What you,
I don't
But
want
then
to open it
you
up to
also
what,
want to-
I
you
like
also
the
want to
European
close.
Championships. I like the 16. For me, the European Championship, the way it existed prior to this 2006, where it had 16 teams, the level of competition is very, very high in terms of you don't see teams getting spanked 8-0 or 6-1. Like, I can only look at Euro 2000 when the Netherlands absolutely spanked Yugoslavia. Like, you don't see the gulf in quality at European Championships.
But then how do you give them a chance? If
They
you
can
don't
have
open
their silver World Cup.
what, and then what? It's like a fight to the
The
death,
Silver
where
World Cup.
where the winner of the Silver World
You
Cup
might get a chance-
faces the absolute bottom side of the Euros, and then what? They play like a
Like
playoff.
I said, this is
and there's
enough money's floating around within FIFA and the UEFA
Leave your
offices
face.
for them to figure it out.
because it's actually, I can't believe how snobbish this sounds.
It's not.
It is
I
snobbish.
just want to.
The
be
whole
entertained.
point is, at the end of the day, take away what you want as entertainment. It's just bringing a sport to the world and
for me,
creating.
Can we accept
the whole
it as
point
that
is,
way?
yeah,
That's exactly what the World Cup is. The World Cup isn't this big festival. It's a marketing play for FIFA, all the FIFA big dogs to line the insides of their pockets.
Not only that, that's a lie. It's for the players to feel privileged for where they come from.
But they represent their country
regardless
anyway.
how we feel, because sometimes we're in a country that sometimes we feel patriotic towards this country, and sometimes we don't feel a part of this country because of our skin color. So we have that weird sense of, I want to feel patriotic because I've lived here for basically my whole life. I feel like at times I do feel like I'm a part of this country. I do feel I have a say to some small degree. Then there's times where I feel like that part of me being accepted in this country is automatically taken away from me.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I have that weird sense of I don't feel like I represent somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? But there's people in smaller they feel like no matter how small you think their country is and irrelevant it is 100% relevant to them.
Yeah.
To a point that they're willing to go against 1,000 Messis to show the world where they come from and the sense of pride that they have in their country. So why would you take that away and make it sound like it's a marketing play. People are actually patriotic to their country.
That's fine.
And I'm saying to you, why are you going to take that away from them just because you want to see the 8 best European teams that sometimes are not the 8 best teams in the world?
Do you know
they
what
don't
it
even.
is, yeah?
And do you know more to the point?
This year, perfect example.
More to the point is,
This
I
year is
saw-
a perfect example.
I saw personally the teams outside of Europe play better football than the teams that we class as the best teams.
So we've talked a lot about the whole the dynamics of the World Cup. For me, again, it was interesting. Like you said, the teams that progressed into the latter stages, and a lot of the more fancied nations, your Germany's, obviously fall to the wayside. Who was your player of the tournament?
Player of the tournament's hard because
Does anyone actually know who Modric got player of the tournament? Right?
Modric got player of the tournament.
Did Modric get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did get it. Which I
thought
can't argue.
I thought Mbappe got it.
No, he didn't get it.
He got
He got
So I looked at the picture.
he got golden boy.
Young
young
This-
player of the tournament.
Young player of the tournament.
I see. I don't think Modric was the best player. There were a couple games before the England game where he wasn't
was
very
none of-
good.
he
Yeah,
wasn't.
he wasn't very good at all.
And I don't want to be that hindrance because sometimes the strength in character, because I think in the World Cup he did miss an important penny.
And then he banged one in.
Then he goes and bangs one in the top corner. Then he carries the whole team,
Yeah,
despite people even thinking that they were anywhere close to getting to the final, because people weren't necessarily saying that Croatia are gonna make the final. Like that weren't.
well, that was supposed to be the easy side of the draw, and you put any of the sides that were on the, I think it was the right hand side of the draw, so all the bigger teams. You put them on that side, and I think Croatia probably would have beaten all of them. Brazil were
I
woeful.
think Belgium would have given them.
Belgium probably the only other side.
Game.
I think Belgium would have given them a hard game, to be honest. And
Do you know what? There were a few
because
good performances.
I admit I'm not a Hazard fan, and I think Hazard played very well in every game he played. There weren't a game where I can say to you
But
that I
Hazard's
saw
one of
Hazard
those
play.
players for me that obviously he for a lot of people, he's like Marmite in terms of
You like him?
you like him or you don't, and I think that's more to do with the style of player that he is.
Yeah.
Because you look at him and then you immediately compare him to the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, but Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't necessarily do his best work on the ball. All his effectiveness comes from his work off of the ball and
Yeah.
how hard he works to get into space.
Yeah.
Whereas Hazard gravitates to the ball and wants to take the ball. He's a ball carrier in a sense.
he is a ball carrier.
He's a wide player, but obviously due to systems and obviously managers coming up with tactical ways of obviously creating
Utilising.
imbalances in defence, he becomes more of the vocal point of the team, where normally historically he'd be looked at as the outlet. Get it to him and let's get up the pitch. Whereas now it's like get the ball get the ball to Hazard and let him carry the ball into dangerous areas. And it's like basketball. They call it when you drive into the paint and you collapse the defense and then you kick it out for an open free.
Yeah.
That's basically what Hazard is in a sense, if you used to correlate it to football.
Yeah.
So based on the style of play, and a lot of the time we're looking at the opposition, and for instance Pogba had, for a lot of people, had a good tournament, but
I think he had a great tournament.
a central midfielder, and again it's another one of those, I don't want to sound like I'm being super critical, but
You're about to be super
I'm
critical.
about to be super critical for a
super
central
critical.
midfield player with, again, we've had the debate about his size and his stature. France didn't really go into any of their games and dominate the middle of the park.
No, their game is
It's very counter-attacking.
it is.
So
They retreat instantly. As soon as they lose the ball, they retreat. Not even onto the halfway line. They're
they're
further back.
fully there's no space in behind. So for me, the credit that they'll give to Pogba in terms of his performance, it was more about discipline and being mature tactically, which for me,
I think, but you see, this is the problem that I have with Pogba. And Pogba is a highlight of everything I say is wrong with football. Is you expect him to do so much stuff?
I really don't. I really don't.
So this is what I'm trying to say to you. Yeah, Xavi's a perfect example of this. Yeah, for how much he controlled the game, how much tackling did he do?
But it's not about tackling.
So now my point stands at this. Yeah, if you watched him a lot, he was in the right position at the right time to get the ball, and a lot of his what he's revered for is his actual discipline of always creating space for himself as an outlet and controlling the tempo of the game, right?
Xavi we're talking about.
Yeah, Xavi. You put Pogba in the same position and you automatically feel that his presence alone should just dominate. As in his physical stature, because he should naturally, because he's bigger, because he's more powerful, because he's more faster, he should be able to cover more ground. You don't give him the same level of, okay, he's just picking up spaces where he can collect the ball from someone that can tackle, i.e. Kante, for example, and then collect the ball and do his best work within going forward and distributing the ball.
Retort to that would be, but he doesn't really affect the game in terms of his team with the ball.
He doesn't control the, and this is what I'm saying to you.
It's not about controlling.
I've never watched Pogba to control the.
If you're gonna be that type of player,
he's a luxury player that I feel sorry for, because you don't trust him to play as forward as you want him to. Then you don't trust him enough to play him defensively enough either, because he's not disciplined enough. So he's a luxury player in that midfield where it's like, where do we put him? Because he can only play with someone else that can tackle.
In an ideal world, but Pogba is what we would like to call a box-to-box
But you gave that 100% that luxury to Xavi, for example.
No, we didn't.
And you gave that luxury to Xabi Alonso. You gave that luxury to players that necessarily didn't really tackle.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, I think people look at it and they conflate the two arguments. For me, you have a dichotomy in terms of you've got defensive-minded midfielders and then you've got attacking midfielders. There is a space for the in-between. Like for me, when I played the game, like I liked to get involved in the more ugly side of the game.
Who would you say is the in-between? What type of players are not too defensive and not too attacking?
There's a what we would call box-to-box midfielders. Like for me, Thiago is exactly what Pogba is. However, he puts himself at the focal point of his team. So Thiago isn't defensively
and this is what I said
in terms
to you.
of he doesn't get stuck in. He doesn't tackle.
This is what I said to you. The problem is with stature, because I don't expect Thiago to tackle either. Yeah, but you 100% trust him to give him the ball in any position on the pitch. You wouldn't give that luxury to Pogba. As much as everyone thinks Pogba's gifted, don't get me wrong, you don't trust to give him the ball in certain positions, i.e. because of his stature.
But I think I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but I think
Thiago's 5 foot odd, yeah, and because he's got that low center of gravity, right? You give him the ball with 4 players around him because you feel that he has the ability to create space in that, and because of his stature, he can wriggle out of positions that you may feel Pogba wouldn't.
I feel this is so like a lot of
this is for argument's sake. I'm just bringing this up.
Like there's always an excuse made for him because at the same time
it's not an excuse. I've just watched those sort of players.
He's 6'3". Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a reasonable. I have question marks over his engine, and that's the main criticism that I have. For me,
his engine's poor.
If you're going to be that type of player, you need to have more effect on the game. Like, we talk about moments. There needs to be more moments if you're going to fleet in and out of football matches. It's fine if you're not. If it's fine, you can be that type of player if you're having an effect on the football match. So in terms of, we look at Kevin De Bruyne. He has an effect on, because he's not as influential in terms of the tempo or dictating the way that
Kevin is very efficient with
he's
the ball.
efficient with the ball. So he creates the majority of his team's passes, but out of possession, he doesn't pick up positions that really are important to his team's defensive shape. Pogba's the same. He doesn't really pick up a position that aids his team out of possession of the ball. So he's always positioned in a reset position where the ball turns over, he's in a bag of space and can pick that killer pass. But he doesn't do that enough. Kevin De Bruyne, for whatever, like, this is a direct comparison. Kevin De Bruyne picks the ball up, and it doesn't matter where he is on the football pitch, he affects the game. Whether or not he's dribbling, he's passing, or he's crossing.
And why I would say that now, yeah? Who does he play alongside that everyone actually knows controls the tempo of the game?
He plays with David Silva. Yeah.
So my point now stands, yeah, you play with a team, yeah, that wants him to do what Silva does and what he actually brings to the table, which is arguably what Kevin De Bruyne did to the table, right? No defensive discipline, right?
Yeah.
But picks up in spaces where he covers ground well and he doesn't put himself too at fault in general, yeah?
He's a cheater.
Yeah, cheater. So a cheater. But affects the play going forward. Because when you do give him the ball going forward...
He has all the ability in the world.
So my point stands. Every team he's been at, everyone says they want more effect of the game.
No,
what
that's
more
not fair
effect do you
either.
want
Because when he played with Pirlo, he was given all the luxury to do that because Pirlo was the one
was his
creating.
Arguably people moment of where people were saying this guy is the most talented or a prodigy.
Again, you're wrong. Because Pirlo left and then he became the guy, and that's where his reputation comes from. He wasn't even a guaranteed starter when Pirlo was in the team.
But that's where everyone saw the potential, right?
Yeah.
When Pirlo was involved, right?
Then he became the guy.
And he became the guy.
Remember, they played 3-5-2 and he played...
It was him,
Marquisio and Khedira?
No, Khedira's more recent. Pogba's...
So it was Khedira was there.
Was it Khedira?
Khedira came the season Pogba left. Because he's been in Italy for 2 seasons and Blaise has been out of Italy for 1.
See, I can't remember who the last... Because it was...
It might have been Asamoah.
Left. No, he was left. Left wing back.
We'd have to do some research. I don't have my laptop with me. But yeah, he played left of the 3 central midfielders. Pjanic, man.
Pjanic was at Roma.
Damn it.
Yeah, Pjanic was at Roma 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. I can't remember the third midfielder.
But that was like kind of the coming of age. People were still giving him credit for his ability. What he was doing.
Vidal. Good memory.
Yeah.
So now when you got Marquisio and Vidal with Pogba, what do you get?
Now man's face has changed.
But I'm like, now you can understand why he was so revered, right?
Yeah.
So now he's come to a club like Man United.
He's got Matic right there.
With Matic and who else?
There.
And who else?
He's got Herrera right there.
He's playing with Herrera. You got Fred now.
Who controls the tempo? This is why we're saying we're gonna give him another chance this season.
All right, who controlled the tempo for Chelsea when Chelsea had Kante and Matic in the middle of the park? Please, someone tell me.
I actually think it was Matic.
Someone tell me.
I actually think he was the playmaker. Kante used to just give the ball to Matic.
So, but who said
you
that?
Had
who
Matic
said Chelsea,
and
Chelsea
N'Golo
dominated
Kante?
games?
Huh?
Yeah, they
because that season that they won, right?
Remember they tore it all down. They didn't start the season well. They was about 7 games
lost to
in,
Arsenal 3-0.
And Conte was like, "Fuck this! I'm going back to
what I'm trying to say to you is, did anybody say that Chelsea dominated in midfield?
They played good football.
It
wasn't amazing. It wasn't Carlo Ancelotti football, but it was good football.
Where did they dominate in midfield and control tempos of games?
What they did is they stretched the game to a point where they had 2 wingers.
I'm talking about teams with Pogba in it that people will say and compare him to with teams that they say control tempo, because you're arguing and say everyone's arguing, putting him in the place of controlling games from the midfield. Now, if you look at teams that control from the midfield, you have the same dynamic that I'm trying to tell you now. You have a Silva, a creative player, you have a KDB, and you have a Fernandinho. You have that free.